Let's go down to the ATL, see what's going on with Coach Key. There he is, rocking and rolling. Got the hair done for us today, just like I do. All right, Coach. Yesterday, we had an exercise in which we all had to pick one player from ACC teams to keep an eye on for not only the spring game, but also the upcoming season. And I got Georgia Tech. And let me just tell you who I picked. And I want you to tell me either that was a great pick or I'm out to lunch. You ready?
Let's go.
All right, I picked Malik Rutherford because I think the dude's got speed and can make plays, and I think we're going to go downfield a little bit more than we did a year ago. What do you think about that call?
Great call. Great call.
He's like that?
Yeah, love it. I'm taking that one to Vegas.
All right. No, wait. Whoa. Let's leave Vegas out of this thing. But tell me what you've seen from him in this wide receiver core, because I know that's been an area that you said, hey, listen, we got to get better in that department.
Yeah, it is. That was one of the main things we addressed in the offseason was increasing the speed at that position and the playmaking ability. And, whether it be through recruiting, whether it be through the transfer portal, in the wintertime, and then from that, just putting some guys in the right positions and getting the right matchups, to get them opened up. So, whether it be through recruiting, whether it be through, what Buster's done, as far as putting the offense together, we've addressed that. We've still got a long way to go. We've still got some more additions coming in the summer, but happy with the progress we've made so far.
Last time we talked to you, spring ball was just getting started. It was the start of March Madness, and I know you were like, I didn't even know March Madness even started, so I'm just going to let you know the tournament's officially over. UConn won the whole thing, in case you missed it, Coach. But you need to have a guy who's throwing the ball to those really good wide receivers that you've brought in and that you're evaluating. So what's been going on with the quarterback competition? We know you brought in Haynes King from Texas A&M. You have both of your Zachs there competing who've already been in the fold. So what have you seen from your guys in that room?
Yeah, you've got two guys that have experience, playing in games here, which is important. It's important to the guys around them that, it's a familiar voice that they've heard in the past. They've competed in games with the same, with a lot of these people around them. Then you bring in Haynes, who has played a lot of big time games in the SEC, and all three are very capable of running the offense. All three are very capable of making plays. And all three have had really good days this spring. So a lot to work on, a lot of improvement needed out of all three of them, to get to the level to be out and go what we want to and do what we want to do this season. But been pleased with the progress so far.
Coach, one of the things that was really impressive with what you were able to do last year and when you inherited a team in the middle of the season is the way this team responded to you, the staff, and competed, and not only competed, won games. That comes from, number one, a buy-in, and number two, a toughness. And every time we've had conversations with you, I think of toughness. And when you watch this team get better in the weight room and in the spring, and you talked about speed and getting better in that department, what about the toughness factor with Georgia Tech football and the brand that you want this football team to represent?
Yeah, it's the number one thing that we're working to develop. I think I've said it before to you guys that toughness is a skill. I mean, it's not something we're born with. We're all born the same. Toughness can be coached every day. It can be coached every play, and it's not just it's not the brute force toughness that some people think of it as. I mean, it's the ability to to take hard coaching. It's the ability to help a teammate up. It's the ability to get back up off the ground yourself. It's the ability to have a next play mentality. It's the ability to strain and push past your comfort zone, whether it be on a singular play or it be on through an entire practice. Are we making progress? We're making progress. Progress, yes. Am I happy where we're at? No, I'm not. I think we still have a lot of work to do. Do I think we have a chance? For me to be happy with this as we get towards the season? Yes, I do. But it's still a long way to go with it. It's something we have to work on, continuing to do every day. And to me, there is no endpoint destination when it comes to developing the toughness of a football team. You can always work to get you can always work to get faster, to get stronger. You can always work to catch the ball better, to throw the ball better, to tackle better, and by God, you can work every day to become a tougher football team too.
You can work on it physically and also mentally as well. And one of the cool things that I saw via social media was that you had the two-time commander of the International Space Station, who's a Georgia Tech grad. His name's Shane Kimbrough, and he came to speak to the team. So you have an astronaut coming to speak to your football team. I'm just wondering the method behind your madness in bringing those two things together and how he kind of related going to space to playing football to your guys.
Wow. All right, so I'm a nerd. I'm a space nerd when it comes to. I was the kid that followed NASA and watched every space shuttle launch. A huge fan of the space program. Then when they went on hiatus in the United States, and now with SpaceX and the what Elon Musk has sent up, it's something I've always been fascinated in. When Commander Kimbrough retired from NASA, that was one of the things that I couldn't wait for have the chance to meet him, and it worked out to be able to have him come speak to the team. So on kind of a personal level, it was really cool for myself and some of the a lot of the coaches, but to get the players in the same room and hear him talk about what he talked about, and they asked more questions to him than they've asked to a lot of former professional athletes that have come in and spoke to the team. But it really does. It correlates in a lot of ways that we talk every day about being where your feet are and focusing on what you're doing now and having a next play mentality. And you learn from your past and you prepare for the future. But then when he can stand in front of you and talk about taking a 7 or 8 hour spacewalk and living 6 months on the space station. I mean, you can't worry about tomorrow. You can't worry about the next minute. I mean, when you're walking in space tethered by a 90-foot rope and you're hanging on, and you think about climbing a wall, rock climbing. Well, you might fall to 100 feet, 200 feet, 300 feet. When you look down and there's no bottom, just the mental focus that it has, that it takes, the energy that it takes. And he equated it, back to the players. He said, you guys work in 6 to 8 second increments, and then you'll take anywhere from 20 to 30 seconds, sometimes less, but sometimes more between plays of the focus. He said, but when you're doing a spacewalk for 7 hours at a time, and every ounce of energy, mental energy you have is focused on the task that you're doing, there is no time to break. There's no time to relax, because if you do, it's catastrophic. And to him to relate that to the players, and they're mentally exhausted after a practice of doing it at 6 and 8 second increments, and he's talking about doing it for 7 and 8 hours at a time, and how drained you are mentally, but the mental toughness that it takes to do those things. I mean, it equated so much just to the preparation of football and the mental toughness that you have to have, and then also the part about the just being where your feet are. Not worried about what's in the past or in the future. So it was a great visit. I mean, really honored to have Commander Kimbrough come and speak to the team and be able to call him a friend.
So cool. I think we're both kind of jealous that we weren't able to listen to that, because that's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. But my question for you is, if Commander Kimbrough said, hey, I'm coming out of retirement, coach, and I have one spot and we're going to space, are you getting on the ship?
Heck yes.
All right.
Yes, I'm flying right now. He told the story about going up and were you nervous? Was it this the first time? He goes, no. I sat back. He goes, and I laughed like a little kid. He goes, I thought it was the coolest thing in the world, because what he didn't realize was his whole life he had really been preparing for that moment, and then to be able to trust the preparation and trust all the engineers and scientists that had put everything together. He was able to just sit back and relax and take a ride. So I'd love to take a ride.
I'm just glad to know. If nothing else happens on this show today, I am just glad to know, Coach, that there's 2 space nerds tied into the Atlantic Coast Conference, because I'm one of those kids growing up. I've been to Houston. I've been to the Space Center. I loved it as a kid growing up, man. I am one of those idiots, and I didn't think many of us still existed. So when you just said that, I was like, yeah. Finally, we got a kindred spirit down there in the ATL that talk a little Artemis mission or whatever the case may be. That is really cool, because, I mean, for folks who've ever seen it in person, when you get a chance, and I know that Taylor spent some time in Huntsville, which has got the space, it's awesome stuff there.
I went to space camp. I went to space camp as a kid in Huntsville.
So jealous.
Right. I mean, how cool is that? Right. I mean, it's just stupid how unbelievably cool that place is. So I am blown away that somebody like you still exists. So, another rooting interest coming here. Whether you win 1,000 games or one, there's another space nerd down there in Atlanta. That's a good thing to know.
Yes.
That's all I'm going to tell you. All right. So, what are we going to
awesome.
get? What are we going to get out of this game coming up? I mean, what do you want to see other than a perfectly healthy weekend as far as the spring? And what is the accomplishment this week for you guys?
Yeah, I mean, you want to come out healthy, and a lot of that goes back to the way you practice and your practice habits and learning how to practice and play the game. But I want to see the guys compete. I want to see us execute. I want to see a level of toughness displayed in the fact that guys play through some extended drives. I think the most we've gotten up to is 14 plays in a scrimmage so far. To be able to play with discipline, not to have the referees have to get involved in the game. Just to take those those steps that we were looking to take this spring, and then be able to go out and execute in front of people and on TV and to see those guys do that. It will be a big step in really the next phase of what we're doing is moving into the summer, because look, the game's over at 3 o'clock on Saturday, but I mean, that's just really the beginning of the next phase of our development and laying the foundation of this football team.
One small step for Brent Key, one
you
giant
would.
leap for Georgia Tech football. That's all I know, right? That's what we're doing.
That's great. That's awesome.
Make the shirts now. Just print the shirts now, okay?
Coach, you always enjoy the time. Again, have a healthy weekend and all that good stuff. We look forward to seeing you soon.
Yeah, I appreciate y'all. Go Jackets.
You got it,
Thanks,
Coach.
Coach.
There's Brent Key down in the ATL.